most interesting finding from this study is that individuals who compress their physical activity into 1 or 2 times per week, what we sometimes call a weekend warrior, have a lower risk of mortality than those people who don't exercise at all. And one of the other interesting things is that the weekend warriors had a similar reduction in risk of death compared to those who were what they call insufficiently active. So people who do some physical activity, but they don't quite meet the recommended minimum level, which is 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week. What's new in this study is looking at that compressed pattern of activity. So previous studies have looked at how little can you do to see some health benefit, and this study was interested more in the question of if you only exercise once or twice a week, but you have a high enough volume, do you see a benefit for mortality risk? And the answer was yes. I think that this study actually supports the 2008 physical activity guidelines for Americans, which suggests a minimum of 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity, so something like walking, or 75 minutes of vigorous activity, something like running, each week. The individuals who can spread it throughout the week, you actually see a slightly increased reduction in risk of death. But for individuals who are challenged for time, even exercising some is better than not doing any at all. The study was able to look at both men and women, which previous studies that looked at weekend warriors only looked at men. So it was interesting to see that there were not differences between men and women. A recent study came out suggesting that people who sit longer have a higher risk of death. So even for people who are meeting the recommended minimum, if they're doing that in 1 or 2 sessions and sitting the rest of the day, 8 hours a day, then they might have a higher increased risk of mortality independent of their physical activity. So just because someone's active doesn't necessarily mean that they can sit all day and not see that increased mortality risk. For the general person, if they don't do any physical activity at all, it would be great to start doing some. If that means getting off 1 metro stop or 1 bus stop early and walking the last mile, that would be of great benefit for their mortality risk and for other health outcomes. If someone's already active and can find the time or has the motivation, doing more activity will probably yield even greater health benefit.